Hello everyone and welcome to Cultured Carrots, a podcast under Verbaminent. And today we have two special guests. Please introduce yourself. What's your name? Where you're from?
Okay, hi, my name is Alberto. I'm from Italy.
Hi, my name is Lian and I'm from Singapore.
Yeah, and special guest. Yes, you're special, but all our guests are special. So just so you know, all the guests before, you are very welcome as well. Don't worry, we love you all. But yeah, today we talk about something that I think it's very important for everyone on campus, which is
spicy.
Yes, international love. Yes, you're thinking about the song. We were too. We want to know more or less what's your dating culture in your own country, back here. How does it change? Any tips or you want to give to our audience? Top 10 tips to date and get in the bed of everyone you want. No, we will not do this, but we will have a conversation about this. It's going to be, I hope, interesting. And the first thing we will to like a bit first to start with. So do you have hookup dating experience in your home country? And do you think there is a specific dating culture in the country you come from? I don't know who wants to start on this.
Okay, I'll go first. So dating back in my own country. I'm from a very small city in which everybody basically knows each other. So you usually get to date someone because it's a friend of a friend, and you get their numbers, you get their Instagram from these people because, I don't know, you saw them at a party, at a bar, and they seem interesting. Maybe you talk to them. You either get to know them directly or you ask from people, and then usually a big part of the beginning of the relationship, it happens through your friends and through this person's friends.
Okay, so this do you use like dating apps? Is something that you use, or is it just personal connection to each other?
I'd say that in big cities in Italy they use Tinder a lot. In my city, not at all. It's very stigmatized. It's very weird to use Tinder.
Is it like Le Havre when you go on Tinder and you always see the same people from campus?
I think so. Yes, it is, but with the difference that in Le Havre, I tried it, and I didn't feel as ashamed as I felt as I would feel in my city, because I never tried it in my city, because I would only see people that I know basically. But in Le Havre, like, who cares? So
yeah. And how about Singapore? Is there like this stigma on Tinder? How do you meet people?
I think previously there used to be this really, really big stigma about, Tinder just being like this app for hookups. But I think a lot more couples are meeting through Tinder nowadays. So I guess Tinder is kind of it has a mixed reputation, I would say. You have your fair share of serious dates and just casual hookups. But I guess at least from my own experience, when I look at my friends back in school, a lot of times the way they meet is usually through new school integration week, when you're put into different integration groups, and there'll always be some sparks flying around. Maybe by the end of the week you suddenly see this one couple always disappearing during lunch or recess, and you're just wondering where exactly they are, and then maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, you suddenly see it on your Instagram, oh damn, my friends are together.
And is there a specific path you have to follow when you date? For example, let's say you're thinking about a date in your own country, in your own city. What are the things you do? What do you expect to happen? Is there anything that is preset that you think everybody knows that you have to do this and that?
Okay, so I think that no matter what you get to know the people, you'll have the very first basic conversations about school, what are you doing, if you're working or studying, on social media.
Yes. So you slide in the DMs.
Exactly.
I see.
And, depend on the people you're going to try to get on a date as soon as possible. Some people like to take more time. Some people just want to, meet in person ASAP. And so you go on a date in a bar. Specifically in a bar, which is not a bar in the English sense. We call it a bar, but I think in English it's more of like a coffee. And it's a very big thing in Italy to go to a coffee because, you have your you have the
conversations.
you have your cup, you have your espresso, whatever, and you start conversations, very deep conversations about politics and philosophy. even though you don't really know what you're talking about. But
You pretend.
even the most uncultured people will talk about politics and philosophy on
You
the
will try your
first date.
best to look like a cultured person.
Exactly. Drinking only coffee, precisely one.
Yeah, it's
Not
actually very
more.
interesting because like espressos are very small. So do you just
Exactly.
drop by drop, or you just sip
Yeah.
it and then keep on
No,
talking?
you just actually you drink it very fast. You know,
Okay, I see.
it's sort of a ritual. I'd say it's very
Wow.
much like a ritual.
Wow.
And then you just talk, and what you'll do in the meantime, you don't eat. I don't know why. Like, a lot of girls told me that on their first date, it feels weird to them to
Eat in
eat.
front of the other person.
Yeah, because they say
but it's,
they're ashamed of eating.
Yeah,
No
I
way.
swear it isn't me, but I heard people
no, but
saying
honestly,
that.
I do agree. Like, I feel like I won't really eat in front of random people at first.
No,
Like,
I
you
would.
just,
I
like,
would.
I don't know.
I
It
don't
feels
know,
weird.
like me, if I have the occasion to eat, I eat.
Exactly,
I
same.
love eating so much, so like on a first
Same.
date, eating perfect. Like,
And there was talks about intriguing looks. Actually, is this something that happens? Can you show us an
Your
intriguing
best.
look to the camera? Because as you know, our episode is also available on YouTube. So if you want to check out Alberto's intriguing
Intriguing
and
look.
seducing look, you can go on.
It is
check out
something, it is something that happens in the moment. You cannot really reproduce it
I feel like
artificially. It's
if you did it here, everybody will fall in love instantaneously. So you know, it's too much of a power.
exactly.
And is there like, does it work the same? Do you take espressos as well?
I think in fact I know a lot of friends who start their first date at like a restaurant or in a cafe eating, so it's like
Yeah, yeah.
completely different because like I feel like I'm gonna make a really hot take here that I think most people who live in Singapore generally agree that after a while dating culture gets boring because there are not that many things to do. So it's the very standard, you know, go to a restaurant, go to a cafe, sometimes you catch a movie together, so most of the time you're eating. And because like I guess in Singapore food is really popular, it's really common, we have good food.
Yes.
So, you know, you just end up eating so much. But I guess nowadays when I look at my friends, a lot of them like to take cycling trips to the beach, you know, they just
It's very
knew-
K-dramas, like.
yeah, precisely.
It's
No, like normally people would ride 2 bicycles, right? But then every now and then you will see that one couple on that couple bicycle.
That's like double, man.
Right,
That's
right.
very-
And I always look at it and I'm like, girl, that's so cute. I like, can more people do this? You know, like it's really just so cute. And yeah, I guess otherwise it's usually like a lot of shopping trips somehow.
I see. Shopping trips.
Yeah, shopping trips, guys. Like I sense the.
But I think that regarding the boring part that it gets boring, I think it happens basically to
Yeah.
any dating culture. After a while, it gets
Yeah.
boring.
Because like
This is why international love is so
Important.
spicy.
Yes,
Yes, that's why we need more of that.
Yes, we get to that. We get to that. And just before we move to the international world, how about like paying? Like you mentioned, both activities that require, getting out some cash. I mean, espresso is like €3 for 2 espressos, so it's chill. But who pays? Is it like a gender division of payment?
Is there
or is
like
it,
a unsaid rule about paying or things like that?
Yes, of course, there's the very stereotyped rule of boys pay. But I think in these years, it's sort of changing, I feel like, I don't know, there's more this acceptance of girls paying for boys.
Yes.
Regarding, of course, heterosexual
Uh-huh.
dating culture, because it's the only one that I know. And so, for example, it has happened to me that girls would offer after the first date, "Oh, I'll pay for coffee." I'd be like, "Okay, go on." But for example, I have a friend who's not misogynist at all. He's a very nice guy, but even with our female friends,
He always pays.
not even with our with the girls he goes out with. It's not that he always pays, but he strictly refuses to be offered money or to borrow money from a girl. Like he strictly refuses
I
it.
see. So it's there is some like gender division that still remains.
Unfortunately.
I think for us, like, I know of some friends, like some guy friends, who would offer to pay for the first meal. But I guess as the relationship goes, a lot of people do transition to like more of a Dutch pay system. Or like, for example, okay, you pay for this date and I'll pay for the next. Or you could pay for lunch and I'll pay for dinner, and we'll split the drinks and dessert in between. I guess like from what I see amongst my friends, the only situation where the guy tends to pay a little bit more, it's like on Valentine's Day, on Christmas, or even on New Year's when they go for a dinner. Like I think that's really the more common one, because I guess like a lot of guys, or at least in my social circle, most of the guys try to offer, but the girls tend to like reject it and say, no, it's okay, we'll split. Like, yeah, let's go Dutch. Yeah, so I think that's a little bit different.
Dutch, I like Dutch.
I like Dutch as well. I like Dutch as well.
International students with a student budget, especially in France, with everything costs so much.
Exactly.
Dutch, perfect.
But I also like to get offered, to be honest.
If you let's overcome this gender stereotypes. Pay for me as much as you want.
We should start a new era in which it's girls that pay for boys.
Guys, yes.
I'm ready to be your gigolo.
Me too.
What about the one night stand culture in your country, guys? Like, are one night stands like something, or is it a taboo or something like that?
Oh, it's not a taboo at all. It's very. I'd say it's very common, and it actually starts very early.
Oh.
But it starts with one afternoon stand rather than one night stand, because you live with your parents, and so you have the chance to do your first experiences when you're like, I would say, 14 or 13. It wasn't my case, but I knew a lot of people that started having experiences at that age.
That's early though. That's very.
I don't know. Maybe it's south of Italy. That's just.
There is not much else to do, so you just.
Exactly.
No, I don't believe that there's such thing as too early or too late. Like.
I'd say.
No,
yes.
okay, no, like you're not doing it when you're 9 or something like that. But I feel like as long as you're ready or mature enough, like I don't think it's too early.
I know
I
people.
think it really depends on the people.
I know people who had their first time when they were 12.
No, I'm sorry.
That's primary school, no?
Exactly, and
no. Are you even fully developed at 12? No.
No, of course not.
So,
I mean, not even at 18. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. Yeah, but I think there is this big problem of like not living with your parents, so you just have to sneak in whenever they're not there. Afternoon stands, morning stands, weekend stands, whatever.
Yes.
But then
Lunch break
when you get
stands.
to university, and people would, a lot of people would move from the countryside to the city, or from one city to another, and so they'd live not alone. Like I feel like in France it's very common to live in an apartment alone, while in Italy usually people would live not even in dorms, but just in colocs. Colocs
with
are
other people.
a very common thing, and with random people, not with people that you know. You get to know them when you start live together, and that the sexual life of a person, it's usually very accepted. The sexual part of living with other people, it's very accepted. So you would have more one night stands, or if you're in a relationship, you would you would just have the person that you both over, and the other people would just be cool with it.
I mean, it's widely accepted that you have sex in university. Like it's one of the basic human needs.
I think for me, or like at least the people I knew around me, a lot of people started around like 18 or 19. Like after you graduate high school, like when you're free to do basically almost everything you want. And also like we also start out with afternoon stands, because parents are not the most convenient, like the convenient people to be in the house. You just want to have some fun times and no parents. But I guess similarly, like when you move from high school to university, a lot of people move into university residences. So it's like the kind of like the cruise system we have here. And a lot of people move into like single rooms. And that's really easy to, get your hookup partner to come and, just... And you can finally have your one night stand. Like, you don't have to stick to it in the afternoon anymore. Like, finally. I think another thing that's really unique is that because not a lot of people like co-lock in a private apartment in Singapore, because rent is really expensive and it's not easy to get one as a university student. A lot of people get like double rooms, so you have a roommate.
Okay, I see. So then there is like some collaboration you need to do there.
Yes, so like most people, I guess, and because it's usually like single gendered rooms, so like it's always like 2 girls, like 4 girls, like 2 guys and 4 guys and stuff like that. So you just have to be really conscious, you know, like when you know your roommates, things are going well for your roommate, you kind of just know you need to leave for a while, like just give them their space, like crash at someone else's room for one night, like one night's gonna be fine, it's you know, no biggie. And then just leave your roommate to have a wonderful time.
Is the sock on the door something that you do in Singapore?
Oh no. That I actually don't know about it yet, but somehow there's always this unspoken consensus, you know, like just know that there's something going on, and you just, you know, for someone else's sanity and like love life, you just leave them alone.
Yeah, and actually, that's, you provided a very smooth transition in the second part, because again, universities, that's what we talk about today. And you, as us, we all moved to another country, right? France, but at the same time, we live in a campus that is not really, there is only like a certain number of French people. So how's it changed? Do you like see a different approach to dating culture, to hooking up? Did you expect maybe different behaviors? Did you adapt your behaviors? How do you feel about it?
Mm-hmm. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, very, very hard question. So basically the idea is, do you date in a different way now that you are on campus? Is there some specificity to our campus, for example, the fact that it's smaller, the fact that we are all interconnected to each other?
Yes. Like I come from a small city, everybody knows each other. You sort of feel a bit constrained when you date. You're not going to be, you know, fearless and say whatever and do whatever. And I feel like at the beginning of the year it was the same here, but since it's a very small campus and quite closed, like the people that you go out with, the people that you party with are all inside campus, and for them it goes the same. They have all their social network inside the campus. Then it starts to become have a lot of, you start to see a lot of drama, a lot of gossip, and so you get a bit more cautious about the things that you do, the way that you do. So yeah, it started from a lot of freedom to less freedom than when I was back in my city.
Okay, so it looked cooler, but now everything goes around campus.
We have to wait. We'll have to wait for the new 1As.
Yes. I think that for that, on that regard, 3A would be a very great experience to just go to universities that are much bigger. You know, you stay there 9 months.
Depends on where you go, though, because like dating culture depends on where you go. I don't know if it's the same.
Right, I think someone here said we should go to Brazil. Can you elaborate on that?
I agree. We'll get to it.
And what about confidence? Actually, does moving to another country where like it's basically a reset button start where you just you know people don't did this help gain confidence? Did you gain confidence through this?
I think for me, definitely, like, part of the reason why when I was in Singapore, I have never dated a Singaporean guy was because I was never, like, I always had, like, a few crushes here and there. Like, I used to, like, you know, like, just remember guys that I liked a lot, but I would never, like, be the first one to confess. I don't know why. Maybe it's like a thing where, like, I just felt like, oh, I should like wait and, you know, like just see how the other guy feels like and not like make a fool out of myself, because sometimes, you know, like when you confess, it's not 100% thing where like you get like a reciprocal answer.
Yeah, I know. When you say when people say no to you, that's rough.
Oh yeah, that feeling is so bad. And I think like I was really, really cautious about it. So even if there were guys that I liked for like a really, really long time, like years, I wouldn't tell them because I'll be so afraid of getting rejected, right? But I feel like coming here, when I look at our campus, when I look at like just how much more open the dating culture is here, I feel like my mentality has changed a lot. Like, I'm not saying that, you know, I've found like my one and true love on this campus yet. No, I haven't. But I feel like if I really do find that person, I'm a lot more open to the idea of like, you know, just being like being the person and then walking up to the guy and be like, hey, what's up? You know, can we go for like a coffee or tea? And, you know, like I would be really much more open to telling the person about it compared to if I was back home right now.
Yeah, so yeah, you do have more... And so I remember that we were talking about this before, and you told us that you gained a lot of confidence abroad, not here, and then that's it. You have all the confidence you need.
No, it's... because the situation that we have here, it's very similar to my cultural exchange when I went for 1 year to Taiwan. Like basically exactly the same situation, because we were a very closed environment of international students, because we were all very different. It was mostly Westerners and very different from the Taiwanese culture. So I would hang out mostly with international students, and
You already tested the situation, basically.
exactly why.
So you came here ready.
sort of.
I see. This is a cultural capital advantage. And so now to the final part, maybe some might say the spicy. No, it's not spicy, but it's very useful.
Some tips from our experts.
There you go. So did you learn any lesson in your... I don't know how old are you, but like let's say in your 20 years of
living.
dating experience.
So, I'd say especially when at the beginning of dating or any type of relationship with a person. Sorry.
Oh. Ed, bless you. Okay.
Bless you.
Thank you very much.
Is this a first for the podcast?
Yes, of course. This is live, all natural, no cuts. So yes, sneezing. Bless you.
Thank you.
So you were
No,
saying
I forgot the question.
you were talking about
Okay. I remember.
Lessons.
So a tip is to never overthink your relationship, because the other person will have their worries, will have their preoccupations, will have just as many thoughts as you have, and so just go for it. But always cautiously, respecting the other person's boundaries. But go for it. Do not stop thinking about that too much, because even if you get rejected, like as we say, the sea is full of fish.
Yes. And I mean, this is very poetic because we are indeed on the sea right now. So, metaphoric. Okay, see, you're a poet. I see.
I think for me, I started off like my one and only relationship on a long distance relationship. So in fact, I actually never dated like a guy, like a Singaporean guy back home. So I think like just looking on that one experience, I would say that especially in your teenage years, like a lot of us are not really mature when it comes to love. Like, we start off like trying to explore a lot of things, and perhaps like maybe for a large part of people who may not be ready for like a first relationship, like maybe doing a long distance is not like the best, because it takes a lot to like maintain one, especially if like your partner lives really far from you. So I would say like, I guess like there are people who have been really successful in like their long distance relationships, but I guess a good starting point for anyone who wants to find love, it's always to like get an in-person like an in-person date. You get what I mean?
Okay, and what would be your
red flags?
Exactly, your one red flag.
Yeah. Something that someone would say or do, and like instantly for you, it's
one thing,
impossible.
real quick, just they say that, you stop dating.
Oh.
This is
If
okay.
they say, I vote Lega.
Okay. Just a context. Lega is basically the equivalent of the En Marche. The party is like far right wing.
Yeah.
So political, like.
Wait, which one is in Marche? Which candidate?
Oh no, not En Marche. Sorry.
No, En Marche is like Macron.
What's the name of the other one?
Rassemblement
National.
Rassemblement National.
Marie Le
Yeah,
Pen.
it's basically the same.
And then the other one, Zemmour.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's Zemmour basically.
Yeah.
Bad stuff.
So
What
political opinions, it's the red flag.
Political opinions,
Yeah.
certain ones are red flags.
Nice. I agree with this one.
I think for me, it's like if the guy doesn't respect my personal boundaries, like I guess a lot of like conversations around relationships today go around like this idea of consent. Like I feel like if the guy doesn't know like when to stop, I'm like, I'm out. I can't do this anymore.
Personal boundaries.
Just
personal
know,
boundaries.
like don't step into my personal boundaries.
Join SMMC next year.
Yes. Always open. And do you have any advice actually to close the episode? So you said what you learned. Do you have any advice for the people that are listening to us? Maybe incoming future 1As are like, oh no, how will I date internationally? How will I satisfy my needs.
Oh my god.
Satisfy my needs.
Play your best card, which is your culture.
Yes.
The fact that you're from a certain country.
Italian.
The fact that you have, that you're from a certain culture will help sometimes.
So exotic.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe I think for some cultures it's easier than others. I feel like Italian people are generally like.
True, you can be like,
Italian
You can be
people are
like-
so advantaged. Come
I
on.
don't know, you can be like, hey,
Oh.
want to
Whoa,
prepare
whoa, whoa.
want to prepare some pasta.
Wow.
Yeah, so live
Straight to the
techniques.
heart.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And actually, on that note, like it's a really because our campus is so diverse, right? It's really like a really good talking point when you start off a date to talk about like, oh, I want to get to know a little bit more about your culture.
Oh,
You know, like,
good one.
Should we have like a breakfast, like a
let's
cup
talk
of
about this
tea
in
over
bed.
like about your culture? I kind of want to get a little bit to know more about your culture, but you really just kind of want to get to know a little bit more about the person.
Nice.
spicy?
And the title of this episode is International Love. So to close, I would like to know, what about international love? How do you feel about international love? Is it like hotter than Miami, or do you prefer like to date in your own country?
No, I feel international love like over any national dating for
Nice,
sure.
nice. So
And-
hotter than Miami.
Hotter than Miami, especially if it comes from Brazilian
Brazil.
people. Brazilian
All the
people.
Brazilians.
Brazilian
Brazilians are
people
campus.
have the best dating culture of all world.
I see. So we take note of that, Brazilian people.
For me, I think also like international love, definitely for me. I guess because maybe I haven't had that experience of like national love just yet, but my last international love experience, although it was short-lived, yes, it was. And like I said, like maybe LDR is not the best way to start, but I did find like my last experience really like wow, like I would totally would do it again. International love is the way for me. And Latino guys. Latino guys, woo!
Nice. So,
Yeah, Latino guys.
please hit us up, send your contact details and a picture of you at thevermanentpodcast@gmail.com. We're becoming the new Tinder. Right now. Organize dates. So yeah, we reached an end to this very interesting episode. I'd say
Thank you very
we
much.
learned a lot. No, but thank you very much for coming. You can listen to our episode, of course, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and a very long list of providers. And you can watch on YouTube as well. I know I've been saying this a lot of times, but this time is real. You can actually find this episode on YouTube.
Please.
So thank you very much for
Subscribe to the
coming.
channel.
Yes, leave a like, comment, share with your friends.
Bye.
Bye guys.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.